Hey everyone, Marty here with Warehouse and Operations as a Career. I hope we're all having a prosperous and productive week. I made a quick trip out to Lubbock, Texas this week to visit with a young supervisor. He's doing a great job and is really interested in all his new duties. It's so exciting to see that kind of enthusiasm, and all his questions really kind of bubble to the surface. His facility is about 180,000 square foot, and he's overseeing a shift of about 15 associates. He actually was promoted from the floor about a year ago and has been handling things like interviewing candidates that his company's recruiting team sends over to him, scheduling the individual's hours, reporting time to payroll, and handling any day-to-day concerns and reporting them to his management team, kind of a strong lead role. As I said, he's doing a really good job. He's been noticed by his manager, who has asked that the reins be loosened a bit. He's ready to give him a little more training and share a good deal more responsibilities with him. I've been working with this young prospect for a little while. He's attended several different leadership classes, and his company has invested the time and energy for him to recognize his potential, and he's ready to accept more information and more responsibilities. Hence his promotion to a salaried supervisor position. I reviewed and presented some regulatory information to him, and we reviewed the facility's different files, things like attendance rosters, its documentation regarding safety meetings, the associate's PIT certifications or the files on its powered industrial training, any equipment operators, as well as the files on any near misses and accident or injury reporting. It's been a rewarding visit for me. I love helping the young and upcoming men and women within our industry. Their excitement and enthusiasm is really contagious and just filters through everyone on the shift. We had another topic prepared to discuss this week, but since we have recently been talking about getting noticed and had a few questions about the supervisor role, an opportunity presented itself today that we just shouldn't pass up. Rodrigo was actually here today performing a site visit. You all will remember Rodrigo from a couple of different episodes. He's been nice enough to share some of his thoughts with us on, and he's participated in both our first and second quarter roundtable discussions as well. I wasn't able to grab him while we were at the warehouse today, but he was nice enough to let me give him a call. Rodrigo, what brought you to Lubbock, Texas today?
Hi, Marty. Thanks for the invite, and just kind of visiting the facility, and just wanted to kind of catch up with the with the managers and with our leads, and just kind of catching up and see how they're doing, and of course asking the questions and kind of meet and greet with a lot of the new employees that we have, and just make myself accessible to answer any questions or any concerns that they may have.
It's so nice to get out and visit with the troops.
Absolutely.
So WAOC's been talking about getting noticed by our management teams if we have any aspirations at all with a career in management, and in particular the warehouse lead and supervisor positions. Can you share your thoughts on those jobs with us, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question. I think that something that I can relate to a lot of those jobs is leading by example. Develop and grow yourself within your team members. And also one of the things that it comes in handy is, organization, being able to organize yourself and, be prepared for some of the, any questions or anything or any concerns that they may have. Just kind of organizing yourself, allow the creativity to flourish within your team. Also have enjoy a good reputation as a professional, development employee. You have to position yourself for a personal growth and promotion. And one of the best things that I've always encouraged everybody, keep learning. That's a key thing that they have to, if they want to continue to move up and, grow within the company, is keep learning, asking questions. That's a very important thing that, if just to kind of keep your mind open to learn out on any other job task that they have, or, and that way, that's how you get noticed within the company.
It is having an open mind, and as you said, that self-education or continued education is so important. Even if we hear some words we don't understand, look them up.
Absolutely.
As I speak with potential candidates, one thing that comes up really often is the interview process. Some feel it's too long and they've really kind of wasted their time, and others are surprised by how in-depth the hiring agent is. We here at WAOC believe, another one of those opinions of mine I guess, that when we're really thorough with our work history and our equipment experience, we're enthusiastic and show our interest in the position with the hiring agent, we can cut a lot of that stress that's associated with an interview and cut the time spent on the interview and, itself like in half. Kind of try and lead the interview ourselves, I guess, in a way. What's your thoughts on the interview process, and how should us as young supervisors be conducting an interview? What do you teach your new supervisors?
That's a good question, Marty. I think that's one of the things that it's very important, especially for the young and new leads or supervisors that they're in the process of trying to hire or building their own team. And one of the things that I kind of created a little a small cheat sheet of things that they want to focus whenever they're doing the interview. Mine, I'll go ahead and share some of the I call it the keys to effective interviewing. I'll go ahead and share some of those thoughts. For example, carefully review the application and resume before meeting the applicant. That's very important, because then at least you have a knowledge of what you're expecting based on what he was putting on the resume. Second of all, prepare the interview area. Avoid using any personal space for the interview. Another one is keep an open mind. Don't make any decisions too soon. Also, one thing is let the candidate do the most of the talking. That way you ask the questions, but also allow them to kind of give you a little bit more further details of each specific position that they've done in the past. One thing is don't lose focus. Be attentive. Observe the body language. Take notes, but don't take too many, because then at the end of it you may end up getting more confused. But never write it on the application or the resume. Just kind of have a notebook. That's something that we always kind of said on the outside. You always want to carry a small notebook, a notepad, anything that just to kind of keep yourself on notes. One thing is while you're doing the interview, maintain control. Keep your reactions to yourself. Don't oversell the organization to the candidate, and be honest. That's one of the key things. Always be honest with the position that you're offering. That way, the candidate, it's not surprised, or it's not led to into something else that they never expected, of the expectations of the job. Another one is let the candidate know when to expect a call, letter, or a decision. So that way, at least they have at least you're giving them the courtesy of letting them know, what to expect, or, if you're going to give them a call within the next few days after, completing an interview. And also, one thing is, as you're completing the interview, also know the job description inside out. Be sure that it is updated and comprehensive. And maybe that way you can give them some examples. That way, you can ask a little bit further questions, or also the employer or the candidate can also have a little bit more further questions and kind of get into the details of that. One thing is don't use too many close-end questions, and prove incomplete answers, but be careful, with the way that you're providing some of those questions. Those are the kind of things that I encourage a lot of the young leads, and also try to whenever they're doing the interview, take notes, or even one thing, just going back, just study that resume before you're completing that interview. That way you'll have a little more control, and also knowing what kind of questions you're going to be asking whenever that interview is in the process.
Those are really good points, Rodrigo, and it kind of gives us a lot to think about. If we're just thinking about a supervisor position, I love the part about taking notes. I know most of the management people that I know carry a composition notebook with them, or some kind of notebook, just to where we can jot those thoughts down.
Absolutely. That can never go wrong.
Another thing we've talked about recently regarding the supervisor position is organization and time management. Kind of goes along with some of the things that you just said. I personally feel these are two skills needed to be successful as a member of the management team. Would you agree? And if so, how do you express that to new leads and supervisors coming from the floor? How do you teach it?
That is very, funny that you asked that question. That's one of the things that I kind of touched the subject on a previous facility that I was visiting at in Longview. And that's one thing that I always tell these the supervisors, setting your priorities, set your priorities, take notes again, delegate and collaborate, rather than doing everything to yourself, or him or herself. Basically, not taking a lot of not doing everything all at once. Remember that are a human, and eventually you can't do it all. So that's one thing that you want to just kind of organize it, kind of set a pace, maybe at the beginning of the day, kind of create a list or a checklist of things that you want to kind of check off throughout the day, and consciously build and trust, respect. Know also the deadlines. That's one thing. It's very important, especially when it comes down to time management, any other timekeeping, payroll, or even special projects that they have certain deadlines. Don't be a procrastinator. So I always kind of organize them and kind of know your priorities of which ones need to be executed first, and kind of go from there.
I think you're absolutely right. One of the hardest things to realize, it always was for me, and especially if we're coming from a position of doing or coming off the floor, is how important deadlines are. Whether it's regarding a report we have to turn in, or having a certain number of cases pulled or loaded by a certain time each shift, I find many of us tend to maybe not recognize the importance of it really happening. I think it could be hard for us because we know how to do those productivity tasks. We're probably really good at them. That's kind of been our mindset for quite a while. In our new position, although, and I hope anyway, these deadlines and their importance have been explained to us, it's new to us. And it's so easy, that human nature thing again, that we stick with what we know. We'll need to really push ourselves with this new thought process and just incorporate it into our timeline because they're now a part of our jobs. Do you see new managers struggling with accepting or meeting those deadlines as they're learning their new positions, and how do you explain the importance of it to them?
Yeah, I see many of them, struggle at times. A lot of times they just want to take everything, and I understand. A lot of times, you go through a 1 week or 2 week training, and a lot of time it's just too much to take. One thing is you got to make sure that you're taking notes. A lot of times I see that, if you're kind of going over, step by step on certain things, and if you're not taking notes, before, I would say within an hour or even before the end of the day, you're going to forget a lot of the stuff that you kind of went through. And as for me, it's easier for me to, a lot of times when I'm going through a training, it's easier for me to kind of be more hands-on and kind of taking that control. But, everybody works differently. But one thing is for sure that you got to definitely take notes, and make sure you ask questions. If you don't understand something while, during the process that they're explaining it, be sure that you're asking the questions, or at least write them down to where at the end of that training, you can ask any questions, or even stop that trainer to ask him, what is the easiest way, or, how did you do this, or what's the best ways, or any kind of shortcuts, or, and as you progress, you're going to come up with your own time, as far as, creating your shortcuts, or, anything that can help you, or setting your own pace. But one thing is, take your time, ask for help whenever it needs. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. Also, have the sense of directions, and have a plan before the beginning of the day. That's always, a very important key thing that you want to have. One of the things that I noticed that a lot of the people, a lot of the new employees or new leads or supervisors, they have some common mistakes. Failing to clarify the expectations. Not properly training your staff. That's one thing that if you feel like you're not getting the sufficient or properly training, then ask stop and ask them, ask any of those questions. Trying to fix all the problems out all at once. As a human nature, you want to go ahead and take care of everything, but unfortunately, sometimes it's just we all end up overwhelming ourselves. So we want to step back a little bit and take one problem at a time, and then just have the solution one at a time. And then while also another thing is not failing to supervise. While or you're trying to take care of everything and try to eat everything that they're trying to train you. So I always kind of, like I said, it's better just to kind of take your time and make sure you ask those questions. And there's nothing wrong with asking for help. So those are my few things that I think I can share with a lot of these young soups. And there's nothing wrong with kind of reaching out for someone to help or get some answers.
I like those thoughts, Rodrigo, and it kind of allows me to throw in my favorite word, which is communication. If you don't understand something, ask. If you've got an idea, throw it out there. Communication, as we've learned over the course of the months, is really probably the most underused tool that we have in our arsenal to be noticed, do a great job, and advance. What do you feel is the hardest part, or really the greatest wall that a new lead or supervisor has to overcome when coming from the floor or a productivity position and stepping into a management for the first time?
I would say there's a couple. One of them is trying to do everything all at once. Trying to be the superhuman. Another one is learning how to take constructive criticism, and then the most hardest one is basically from whenever you're coming from the floor up to the rankings of a lead or a supervisor or even a manager, separating yourself from the regular employees or from your team. In the past, that maybe at one point you had a good relationship where you guys would have a good talk, but then eventually once you start kind of going up the rankings, learning how to separate that, because if not, then you're going to lose respect pretty quickly, and you're going to lose your team completely on that. So learning how to do that, and also be active listening. A lot of times when you're going through the training, a lot of people would say, yes, I understand, I get it, I got it, okay, sounds good. But a lot of times they're not even listening. They're actually just it's just going from one ear to the other. So be sure that you're active listening. A lot of times, while you're doing the training, sometimes, yes, it could be boring and stuff, or you're falling asleep. Stop the trainer and say, hey, can I step up, stand up for a little bit, and again, write down your questions and then go on from there. But, just be sure that you have the active listening and also learning how to separate. I think those are the most important ones, separating yourself from your current shift or employees, in order to kind of flourish at the position that you had been promoted for.
Yeah, that was always the hardest part for me is, you got friends, you got work peers, and once you become their boss, their habits, what they're doing, so you really have to kind of ease into that. And even hanging out with them, it can still be done. You just really have to have the personal life and the business life.
Absolutely. You're completely right on that.
Rodrigo, I'd like to thank you for taking a couple of minutes with us here today. It was really great observing you complete a site visit with your customer and watch how you visited with your team. I picked up more than a few pointers and had a good time, sir.
I really appreciate for the invite. And like I said, anytime, I'm always available for you guys.
And we here at WAOC appreciate each of you, our listeners, for taking a few minutes with us. I know the sound quality's not the best when we're out on the road, but we hope you find the content interesting at least. Please shoot us an email or comment and any suggestions or topics you'd like to talk to us about. Our email is host@warehouseandoperationsasacareer.com. And we'd love to hear from you on our Twitter and Facebook feeds as well, where we can be found, the little @ WHSEANDOPS. Until next week, let's speak up at our safety meetings, get noticed, and inspire at least one person with a safety thought this week. We all want to go home just as we showed up today.